Be sure and tell them Large Marge sent ya.
In the 90s, we were just teeny tykes. We liked our movies and our bikes. We wanted to be DJs, but we were just teeny gals. So we went off to college and we remained as pals. 20 years later, we're still watching flicks and we're bringing you the favorite bit by bit. Sweetie and Sweetie are here to say it's the Large Marge Santa's podcast. Hey,
Hey guys, welcome to the Large Marge Santa's podcast, your favorite podcast where two sweetie sisters talk about their favorite flicks or just a flick they saw from their childhood. I'm Sweetie with a Y.
And I'm Sweetie with an IE.
And hey guys. It's February. I don't have anything, relevant to say about that. But it was my pick. And I don't know, I've been having these thoughts lately of this strange traumatic event that happened in my past. And I was like, wait, I think it was that movie called Nothing But Trouble. And I was like, sweet, we got to watch it. So, okay. I don't know what the fuck is going on. But if you're Dan Ackroyd and his brother, and you can literally make any movie you want, probably in the world, and you decide to make a movie like this, I don't know. I don't know what the thought process is. Dan, I'm struggling to understand.
I feel like this is the problem when you, as Dan Ackroyd probably was in the late 80s, coming into early 90s, had a bunch of hits. Everyone knew he was a funny guy. And really was given probably too much free reign to create something, let's say, and had no men. And then this shellac was made. So,
Did I say what it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we did nothing but trouble. Now, when you added this to the Large Marge sent us Google Doc that we have, so I think we've talked about this before. We have a Google Doc, and we each have a column, and we'll add movies at our whim. And I pop in there every once in a while to just clean it up. And I was like, "Ooh, Sweetie added a movie. What's this down here?"
I added a few.
Yeah, but this one I was like, "Oh, Nothing But Trouble. I love that one. That's the one with Julia Roberts and Nick Nolte." Okay, that is not the same movie. That is I Love Trouble, which I did add because I do.
Yeah,
I saw that movie in the
remember,
movie theater, and I was
I remember the VHS. I don't really know if I ever saw it, but I remember you talking about it all the time.
It was there's this kind of one freaky part in it, but I saw it in the movie theater with my friend. I thought it was so cool, and I was 9 years old. But anyway, not that movie, guys. But as Sweetie said, you might remember it from your childhood as I think you might have said you saw bits on TV. Yeah, you'd come across on TV and be like, "What is this?"
Well, I distinctly remember, again, I watched a lot of TV. I wasn't supposed to, I'm assuming, in the basement where we had this finished basement, this awesome basement. So I would watch a lot of TV programs down there. So it was probably late-ish night on HBO, 11 p.m. I'm scrolling through the channels, and then I see this one, and it must have happened that I happened upon it right at the part where the judge comes to the first time into the room with the fart chair. Yeah. And I was like, what is this? And I was so disgusted, but I could not stop watching it. And I was at the point where the fat baby brothers were in the junkyard, and I was like, why am I still watching this? And then I think at that point it got to be too much for me, and I turned it off. Yeah. But I had a lot of memories of scarring images in this movie that just have stuck with me for a very long time. I realized.
Yeah. As you would. I don't remember. Some of the scenes did come back to me, when I was watching it tonight. So that makes me think that I did possibly happen upon it also on TV or something. But what I remember is it was a video cassette, the cover, I would see it on the comedy section. and being like, ooh, what's this? Because it was like all the leads, like just like their heads basically. And like Dan Ackroyd is one, but he's like this really old, like fugly old man. And in my like little kid mind, I remember being like, what the fuck? Like, that's not Dan Ackroyd. Like, totally confused. Didn't really like put together that it was him with like prosthetics.
Sweetie, the day that Sweetie learned about movie magic.
Right. So I've never seen it. I read some great things on IMDb about how bad it is. Some people warned us that it's super weird, and it totally is.
Who warned us that it's super weird?
Ryan Ferguson, shout out.
Oh.
He was like, this is a very strange movie. You're going to be weirded out by it. Also, for
I
me,
know.
now post-watching, file this movie under do not watch while eating.
Oh, God.
Because really, I had finished dinner, but I was in the midst of my vanilla ice cream, and I'm like, during maybe the hot dog scene,
dogs.
and I'm like, I'm going to put this down.
I know. I should have warned you. Like, that hot dog scene I definitely blocked out of my memory until it started happening. Yeah. And then I was like, oh no.
Those aren't hot dogs. I mean, it was nasty. So, Nothing But Trouble from 1991. Directed, written, and starring Dan Ackroyd. So,
I thought his brother directed it.
No, he directed it. Him and his brother did the screenplay. His brother is the valet in the apartment building, the like Irish looking valet.
Yep.
I guess, yeah. Who also like has some comedic chops. Like he was in the whatever the comedy troupe, that all those guys were in. Mm-hmm. So, but like just didn't, I guess, make it as far as his big bro, or maybe it's his little bro. I don't know. But anyway, so you're like, okay, yeah, this is like gonna be good, right? But oh boy,
well,
yeah.
And like, who else is in it?
Right.
We have,
So he got all of his buddies from, what is like the Canadian comedy thing?
know.
Why am I not
I
thinking
can't
of
even
it?
think of it.
Not Second City, but like, what the frick is it? Someone's gonna yell at me, but it's the Canadian SNL. All those guys were on it, and that's where they all met. So yes,
It's
who's
not
in this?
Second-
No, I don't. It's not the Chicago one.
No, isn't it like Channel? No, or like something
CTV or something.
Yeah, something like that. There's letters.
Yeah.
pretty sure.
Anyway.
SCTV.
Yeah, I think it's that. Didn't we have a trivia thing on that too? I think it was.
We probably
anyway.
got that wrong too.
Okay, so who's in this?
Demi Moore. You know Demi. Chevy Chase. Dan Ackroyd, we said. John Candy playing dual roles. One is a mute granddaughter. The other his regular old happy self. And then the guy from Digital Underground with the nose, the Humpty Dance, and Tupac Shakur.
Thank you. I was hoping you would mention him.
And Daniel Baldwin. Like, really weird mix. Weird mix, guys. This was actually apparently Tupac's debut, like, onto the music scene, according to Wikipedia and his music career section.
I love seeing that.
I thought I was seeing something because, like, I don't think I've ever seen him in like moving picture format. Like, I'm probably in music videos, but I don't think I don't think they really played those on MTV when I was watching MTV. So I missed those.
He looks like a sweet innocent child. I was like,
he looks like a small babe. Yeah,
I know. I think you're forgetting Brian Doyle Murray. Always making his
like at
small,
the very end,
tiny cameo. Yep, and
blinking and miss it.
The actor Taylor Negron. Sorry, like his name was under a Daniel, so I just put it together. Taylor, pretty normal name. Taylor Negron, also known like as a character actor, but we've seen him most recently as Angels in the Outfield, the like annoying guy who like sits on the hot dog.
Oh, Angels in the Outfield. I was thinking when you said that, I was like only picturing A League of Their Own, and I was like, I don't know. I don't think that's right.
No.
Baseball,
no.
You get it mixed up.
Angels in the Outfield,
that's
but him
so funny.
He's like this random Brazilian couple gets like thrown into the mix for like no reason at all. I guess only to like have an ending for like the grandson. Anyway, we'll explain it later. So yeah, so pretty good cast. So I'm sure, you know, they're all buddies with Dan Ackroyd. They thought it was going to be good too. This movie is known for winning like a ton of Razzies. It has a 5% on Rotten Tomatoes. And it's only one of 2 movies in which someone won the worst supporting actor Razzie, but also directed themselves. So Dan Ackroyd won that. He directed this movie, so it's like double bad. Oh. Can you guess who the only other second person to have that claim to fame is?
Wait, the claim to fame is that you win worst actor and you direct the movie that you were in?
So basically, like, you directed yourself
thought you were gonna
to
say,
this bad performance.
Oh. God. I don't know. Kind of like a hint? It's pretty hard.
I see dead people.
M. Night Shyamalan?
Yes, but
Why
what movie? Not that movie.
Supporting actor?
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Probably one of his movies that was the least well received.
The Happening?
No.
Lady in the Water?
Older, yes.
Oh, I don't think that's the least well received. I think it's The Happening. But, wow, good. Sad.
Yeah, sad. So,
Prestigious.
yeah, claimed fame.
I thought you were going to say the thing where, like, you win Best Actor and Worst Actor. Like, only, like, Sandra Bullock's done that. Because, in the same year.
Oh,
so
but that's like not for the same movie, though.
No, but All About Steve, and then she won the Oscar for The Blind Side or whatever.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, that makes sense because, you know, got to pick your projects. But, yeah, so known as a pretty terrible movie kind of through and through. So this story was actually based on one of Dan Aykroyd's personal experiences, believe it or not.
I don't believe it.
So,
what?
Okay, so he was really pulled over in like a podunk town for driving, over the speed limit or whatever, some minor traffic violation. And they really did take him to like a justice of the peace to like figure out like, you do like a mini trial and figure out what the fine or sentence was. So, okay. That part, personal experience.
Okay.
The rest is a combination of him having this like daydream that he saw John Candy in drag and like couldn't stop laughing about it. So he knew he wanted to like make a movie with that. And then all the trippy, weird, like acid, gross stuff was just from random dreams he had and stuff. So it's like a bad combo, I guess, because you're like, okay, like this is a good seed for a movie, but then you're just like piling on all this like dream shit. And I guess like Dan Aykroyd, like really nice guy. Everyone loves working with him. So nice. And in that sense, he let like the crew do whatever they wanted. So like any like funny thing, any weird prop, any this, any that, like he let them do. And so everything became like very grotesquely absurd at what they said in IMDb, to the point they went $5 million over budget. So again,
I was wondering,
this is like, it just like blew up. They had just had such free reign that it ended up being just like this absurd movie with like no point to it.
And weird and good prosthetics, but
yeah,
like what?
Yeah,
wow.
So weird.
Not surprising. Yeah, it's definitely interesting. It doesn't make a lot of sense. It seems like elements of the plot were just thrown together, not by like this would never happen in real life because the conditions are not so like stupid as this. Like oh, you're gonna follow me to this house in the woods, and I'm gonna outrun this cop car, with all these people.
Yeah.
Like nobody would fucking do that.
Right.
It was just ridiculous.
Yeah. And I was really missing the funny aspect to it. Like I feel like stuff that's like this crazy or weird can survive if like there's a bit of like a plot, right? Or the jokes are funny, but like it just didn't it wasn't funny at all. Like I don't know. Like even like Dan Aykroyd wrote the script, so you're like, okay, like this is going to be great. And I feel like his little part was probably the funniest part, but like none of the other parts. There wasn't any good lines. Like
there were a couple like one-liner zing insults that were pretty funny, but I don't remember them. But I remember I did laugh out loud like once or twice.
Yeah,
when somebody said that.
Yeah,
that's pretty much it.
I chuckled a couple times, but it was more like a movie. Like what?
Yeah,
like that's your reaction. Like on most scenes, like what?
I mean, like, I feel like it's closer to a horror movie than it is like a comedy.
Right.
Like, it was really scary. I don't
Yeah.
like it.
I know.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
They should have leaned like more towards that or something. It just like wasn't a good balance. But hey, what are you gonna do? So yeah, Dan Ackroyd never directed a movie again.
Aww.
Sad. Yep.
Scarred for life.
And I think he didn't even want to direct it. Like they couldn't find someone to do it. He really just wanted to do like some of the acting parts. So he kind of like suckered in. But yeah, that's a bummer. And I guess also IMDb, whether this is true or not, he felt so bad about how the movie did. Like at the box office, he like hand wrote like everyone who worked on it like letters, like apologizing. The guy is way too nice.
Too upsetting.
I
Poor
know.
Dan.
He's just so sweet.
We
So-
still love you. It's fine. All right. Well, let's see if we can do this plot summary-ish.
Okay.
All right. Okay.
All right. It's time for the sweetie synopsis. Yeah.
Sweeties.
I was going to do one. I forgot the line. It was something like you're worse than like the yellow fever runs all night or something.
yeah. Something like that.
Diarrhea joke.
Something like that.
I did laugh at any of the fart jokes. Like, you know, like a well-placed like little toot will always make
Yes, I know. Sweetie has never gotten over the TV commercial, the like Gas X commercial where the guy's like, "Your son Rip is online toot."
It's commercial ever, but
Can't handle it.
No,
She
but
literally
I'm
can't
talking about
handle
the part where he's like spying at the old man through the hole in the wall, and he's like going to sleep, and he's just like toot.
Oh my god!
I love a little
Love a
happy
toot.
a happy
Toot,
fart,
toot.
you know.
Yeah, a happy fart.
Yeah.
Little exclamation point fart. Anyways, so we have Chris Thorne is a financial publisher, so makes like the Financial Times or whatever. He's like this guy about town, drives this like fancy Beamer, wears like a casual kind of scarf around his neck kind of guy.
He's a yuppie. He's a yuppie.
A yuppie, yeah. So he's, he's going home to his penthouse apartment in NYC. He sees this woman he's never seen before, I guess, with a dog. She had a dog, right?
She's new to the building. Yeah, she
New
had
to the building.
two dogs.
I thought he was in like a hotel. I was
Yeah,
so
me
confused.
too. I thought it was a hotel.
I was like, this was his apartment. So they get in the elevator. She just randomly like starts fucking crying, and you're like, what is this bitch doing? And then she sees on his Financial like Times type newspaper that like so and so does like some deal, something, I don't know, land, blah blah blah.
This
I don't
part
get
was
it.
very fuzzy to me. I literally had no
No idea.
idea what was going on.
No idea.
And finally, I got to a point, maybe 2 minutes in, I'm like, I don't think this matters because I kind of knew what the plot was. So I'm like, I'm pretty sure this is not integral to literally anything that's gonna happen. So I'm not even gonna try to waste brain cells.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't either, maybe.
So like blah blah blah. Demi Moore's character's name is Diane. She's invited up to Chris's apartment for like some party he's having. She goes up there and is like, "Hey, can I borrow your car?" Like they don't even know each other. It was so weird. She just like jumps right into that. And he's obviously obsessed with her immediately and like wants to have sex with her. So he's like, "Oh, what? Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go with you. I don't know." And so they make this plan to like drive to Atlantic City the next morning or after noon, I guess. So he is hungover as fuck and like can barely get in the car. He's like, I can't do it. Like gives the keys to the little valet guy and is like, tell Diane she can take the car. And then here comes Demi Moore, who like, moments before was wearing glasses. You thought she was a nerd for show. And now she's in the elevator in this like white 50s like body
It's like a romper.
tied at the neck and then
really
this
like
white coat and like just all white and pearls, and you're like, girl, where are you going? Like what was I thought they were going to like a development plot or like something.
I think something that guy in Atlantic City was like her boyfriend actually, and
Okay,
it was
so she
like
wanted
a
to
client, but it was something to do
impress
that.
him.
Yeah, it was something some relationship
something
drama.
something, blah 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 blah.
Yep.
So yeah, Chris is like, okay, never mind, I'm coming. So they leave, and then meanwhile, here's two like freeloading Brazilian friends who like have their bags packed and are like, we're coming with you, because they heard them mention like road trip. So Chris was like, I can't say no to them. And I was like, can't you? Like, what? So they get in the Beamer, and now it's this fun road trip, right? So the Brazilians decide they need to have a picnic. So to compromise, Diane finds this like scenic route that they can maybe stop and have a picnic at. So they somehow find themselves in a town called Valkenvania. Or is it Vania? I don't know.
Like Transylvania.
Valkenvania.
Yeah.
Oh, I get it. And it's just this like completely run down. It looked like a bomb exploded in the town, and then people were still living there. Just like super like podunk, like very scary. So as you know, it happens. Outsiders come in. The local cops are like, okay, who's this? So, you know, Chris doesn't stop all the way at the stop sign. This cop puts his lights on. The Brazilian friend Fausto's like, is that his name? Did I just make
I think
that
so.
up?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I think that's right. I was like, wow, you remembered. That's like brilliant.
He's like, you know, you don't have to stop, Chris. You can just keep driving. I was like, what? I was like, don't take advice from him. Like, what? You have 3 people in the car. Like, what is going on? So he decides to do it and like outrun him. Little does he know, this little town has like weird fucking technology in the cop cars. It has like jet boosters, and the police car is keeping up with him. So there's this whole like chase sequence, blah blah blah. Finally, they get hit. The cop's partner is like blocking off the road with like a gun, so they're stopped. Chris is like very white privilege here. Is just like yeah. Sorry, I didn't know I was speeding. Blah blah blah. We'll just be on our way. Thank you very much. Goodbye. And the cop's like, oh, no. I'm going to arrest you and take you to this justice of the peace, the judge, Alvin Reeve. You're like, what? So he tells them to follow him. And they drive to this horrifying house, decrepit house, in amongst junk. It's like...
Yeah.
It's like all the fun houses in the world are like, this is where you come to drop off your used funhouse equipment that you no longer need. It was like giant statues of bald men, and then like toasters. And
lawn
I don't know
jockeys.
how that fits in, but racist lawn jockeys, like so strange. So they get to this house. It looks like, if you've seen the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, it's pretty much exactly like that house. It's just like, there's tchotchkes, and then when you look a little closer, you're like, these are human bones. And so they go into this place, and there's just this big to-do. The judge comes out of this like hole in the ground, or like the ceiling, I forget which one. And you can't see him for a while. It's Dan Ackroyd. You can kind of tell by his voice. And then he just pops out. And I mean, okay, sweetie, describe his face, I guess.
So he's supposed to be really old because he talks about being in World War I. So this is like, he's got to be like 90 years old, 100 years old. And I guess the buzzword is liver spots. So if you've ever seen like really old people who, you kind of degrade and you get like all these big like spots on you basically.
Why are they called liver? Is it from your liver?
It must
like,
be
does
some
your
connection
liver
to
cause that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Ugh.
Like
Are liver spots the worst? Are they your least favorite? They're my least favorite.
Yeah, you see them. I don't. If you see some elderly people, you see them on their hands a lot. It's not usually like on their face, but imagine like an old person's hand, but it's this guy's face. But then there's like parts of it that are peeling. Something is clearly wrong with his nose. He has like gross furry yellow teeth. I mean, he's not a looker. By any means, but he's this like old crotchety judge. He kind of starts going off on all these weird tangents, and like Chevy Chase can't handle it. He needs to get out of there. Meanwhile, the Demi Moore character Diane is a lawyer, and she like is just trying to be smart and be like, okay, we need to be quiet. Like, let's just like get this over with. And so they kind of like bumble things. So they collect all their IDs, which is like kind of a weird thing because you're like, okay, well, only one person broke the law. Like the guy was speeding. So why is like everyone else in trouble? Mm-hmm. They impound their car, and then the judge is like, that's it. Like, his grandson, who's John Candy, is the cop who pulled them over, and he's like, come on, like, just let them go. Like, they're fine. Like, they just had this violation. They don't have any drugs on them. Like, and the judge's like, no, like, they need to learn their lesson. He finds out Chevy Chase is, well, a financial publisher, but he connects that to being a banker. So that's kind of important.
Isn't even accurate. I don't know. Like, not true.
So he's like, well, nope, I'm not letting you go. Like, you will like reconvene tomorrow at 4:00 for sentencing or something like that. Pushes a button, and then they drop to the ground and fall into like a big pool of squeaky toys.
Yeah, or like carnival like tchotchke toys, and just like
but
a
they
whole
were
tank
squeaky.
of them. Yeah, it was weird. So then they just like are down there for like all night, I guess. And meanwhile, another group of rabble rousers enters the fray. Cue, Daniel Baldwin, the old.
Daniel Baldwin. So least like known Baldwin, right?
Yeah.
So you have Stephen Baldwin, who's blonde in Usual Suspects. That's like the only thing I remember him in. Obviously, Alec Baldwin.
Probably crazy. He
Yeah.
is. Yeah.
This guy is like weirdo Alec Baldwin, this brother. Because you like squint and you're like, is that Alec
I
Baldwin?
don't. I didn't think it
And
was.
then you
at
open
first.
your eyes a little, you're like, whoa, that's like some weird,
It was,
corrupted
from
Alec
the
Baldwin.
side. I only knew it was him from the side or something.
Yeah.
Like, in the front, he looked totally different.
It
I was
was
like, that's not
really, really eerie.
Baldwin.
Yeah.
But yeah, he plays like this slimy, like cokehead, and he's with a group of druggies who are just like it's stupidly wild. Like, I don't know how else to describe them. So they get sentenced to death, and they get thrown into the bone crusher or whatever. And it's this fucking scary roller coaster that plays like loud metal music, and then it spits you under this thing that it has like tin cans cut, serrated tin cans.
It didn't make sense why that would like skin stuff off your bones.
And then you get spit out the other side. Yeah, just a pile of bones through a chute. Boom, hits a target. So like that, I couldn't unsee that when I was little. Like that just like, that fucked me up. Because I was like, this is fucked up. Like, how could something do that to, and like, I was just petrified.
I did appreciate that it wasn't gory, so there's no blood in this at all. It's really just bones, and like I really appreciate that for a comedy. Like they kept the blood at a 0 because it was still a comedy. So I was like, okay, like I can get behind this like bone thing because that doesn't scare me as much.
Point, sweetie. Yeah, but now we know like who we're dealing with, like these kinds of like crazy people, right? So meanwhile, they let out the prisoners from the basement to have dinner. And then they meet the granddaughter, who is John Candy in a wig, in drag. Which is like pretty weird.
And mute. I'm like, why do you think they made her mute? Just because they didn't want him to like do a voice?
He didn't have maybe he like couldn't stop laughing when he was like talking or something. Like it seemed like he like couldn't keep it together or something. I don't know. It was really bizarre. And then there's like this horrifying dining scene on hot dogs, and then train set, and
in theory, a train set delivering condiments like is a good idea. And like I really do want to get behind it, but it never stopped, so it wasn't like
he was controlling. He would like stop it in front of people, I think.
Oh, okay.
And then he would like, okay, you need ketchup, now you need mustard.
So the worst part about this is, so first of all, like the appetizer like are ants on a log, which in some ways I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. Then these like pieces of bread get like tossed, served around. So you're like, oh, what's this? And then these hot dogs come out in this like steamer, and they're like bratwurst, I want to say. Yeah, they're like
gray?
white, and they're very phallic. They look very much like droopy penis, and it's just really gross. Then like the piece de resistance is the gross Dan Ackroyd old man trying to eat this hot dog, like fully loaded up with condiments, and it's just like all over his face, and it's like the hot dog's like poking out of the bread bun. They don't even have buns, they just have like the bread when you just like fold it up, you know, that way.
It's deeply upsetting.
Oh yeah, it's awful, so gross.
Awful. So anyways, at this point, Chris just loses it, and the Brazilian loses it, Fausto. And he makes a run for it with his sister, by the way, who's his sister, not his girlfriend. And they just fucking jump out the window and fucking leave. And then they swim across this like toxic little crick down by the crick, and they escape, but Dennis finds them, and then they appeal to his good side, and he lets them like hide or whatever. So that's pretty much the last we see of them until the very, very end. So now Chris and Diane are like, shit, let's also make a run for it. So they try to get away. Essentially, they don't get away, and they get like locked up in this room upstairs. And it turns into this like bizarro death fun house where like the bed gets turned over, and then they have to like escape basically. And there's all these things trying to like kill them. It's like this wall that's gonna crush you, and then this slide into a pit of bones. Eventually they get separated, and Diane goes into the junkyard and finds these two like fat baby twins who are like, I don't get it. I'm unclear what age they are. They're forced to sleep outside. They're not allowed in the house. They're also grandchildren of the judge. Their names are Bobo and Little Dedums. Or no?
Little Dobbins.
No. Debbins?
Debbins. Little Debbins.
Little Debbins. Like, what is that?
Like Little Debbie. Yeah. What was the movie where like someone was wearing a diaper and you were really grossed out by that? Remember? Like
The Tin Man? The Tin Man's trash diaper.
That's what the diapers remind me of. And they have like such a weird body, and they're always like slimy or
God, the
sweaty or
saggy
something. I mean, they kind of look
diaper.
like Sloth from Goonies slightly.
Yeah, but like really, their stomach was all the way
Yeah.
to like the ground.
Like almost like a pregnant lady's stomach, sort
was
of.
weird.
Reminded me of
But
that.
they're like by nature kind of sweet.
Yeah.
And so Diane like forms this like weird relationship with them where she like talks to them like babies. I mean, they could be babies. I don't know. They seem pretty advanced. I don't think they're babies.
I don't think they're babies.
And she, that's like what she's doing for a while. Meanwhile, Chris has landed and has his side of the slide, just spits him out behind the judge's bedroom, and there's like a little peephole, and so he watches him. And then the judge gets like summoned to another call in the courtroom. So Chris goes and decides to search his room. What is he like trying to find? What was his game plan here?
But they do earlier. Him and Diane did find up in the attic like all these newspaper articles about people gone missing, and then all those people's licenses attached to these articles. So they put it together that all these, and they're kind of criminals and maybe not the best parts of society. These people. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of putting it together that this guy is like a one-man like exterminator for like all the bad people like in the world. Yeah, that he's trying to like rid the society of them. So, and then they find out he includes bankers in that because he did tell some story about some banker that wronged him or something like that. So he concludes that Chris is like the scum of the earth, and so that's why like he's gonna die now, or in the whole group.
Yeah. They're out. It's out. But he gets the judge comes back, and then there's a scuffle, and Chris gets his foot stuck in a bedpan. It's very upsetting. That also has stuck with me my entire life, and I like horrifying.
Bedpans.
Poopy bedpan.
Poopy bedpan.
I don't get it, bedpan. You leave the bedpan in your room with the poop in it?
No, you're supposed to clean it out every day. You don't like
right
let
away.
The shit sit.
But what if
you
you have
like
to poop?
invalids? Like
What are
someone
you
else supposed to take care
like,
of that?
No, like back in the day, like chamber pots. Like, what if you had to like poop in the middle of the night, and then you were just like sleeping with your poop all night?
Yeah, and then you just like chuck it out the window. I remember like the streets were like full of sewage. Yes.
I'm horrified. Anyways, so now at this point, Diane, interlude, the band Digital Underground, you may remember them from the Humpty Dance. They had that one song, Do the Humpty
They were
Hump.
a real group? Oh my God, I thought it was fake.
The Humpty Dance. Do the Humpty Dance. Do the Humpty Hump. I mean, maybe, but like I'm pretty sure it's real because that's the Humpty guy, the Humpty Dance with the nose.
What is with the nose?
It's like his thing. I don't know. It's his signature.
Okay. I thought he was potentially missing a nose, and that was like a prosthesis kind of a thing.
So when Chris is looking through the peephole, though, he sees the judge like take off the front of his nose. What? And like, what is that? So he sees an article. It's like blown off in a mine. But like, what does that tell? What does that have to do with anything? Like, why is he missing part of his nose?
I don't know.
I was like, is he a zombie skeleton? I was so confused. So, anyways, Chris gets unfortunately betrothed to the John Candy daughter.
Because he gives an ultimatum.
Is
die or marry Eldia or something.
Eldora or something.
Eldora, yeah.
And yeah, ultimatum, chooses to marry the daughter. And then he decides at the very last second he like can't do it right. And so the judge gets mad.
Go back to what happens to Digital Underground.
They just get to leave.
Because they like perform like their music and the judge like gets into it and is like playing the organ with them and they're all like jamming.
So I could have sworn what happened is that like he hated the music and then put them through the bone crusher too. Because
he does. He starts to do that and is going to press his button. He keeps like looking at the floor underneath kind of like where some of them are dancing and performing, and then he kind of gets into it, joins them with the organ. The girls come up and are dancing with him.
Yes,
and
I remember.
I remember. And he decides, I do think that you are contributing to society. Like, you're free to go.
I know. I just remember him like changing his mind or something, and then like they died. But yeah, they just get to leave, so they're on their merry way. Chris, not so lucky. He gets put on the bone crusher, but evades it.
Yeah, they get married, but did you say that already?
Oh, I thought they didn't. It didn't go through. Why does he get mad at him?
Because then, as the rappers are leaving, he's like, "Take me with you," and like tries to leave with them, and that really hurts her feelings. And then the judge gets all pissed, and he's like, "That's it," and sticks the conveyor belt, and then he goes.
Okay, yeah. So then he goes through. The bone crusher like breaks down, as luck would have it, and so he's spared. Now he's in the junkyard. He's looking for Diane. They go get Diane, who's been in this like cage the whole time as she's been playing cards with the baby brothers, and they strap her to this like guillotine type of machine with like 4 blades, like tractor blades, snowplows, and they go over the intercom and they're like, Chris, we're here, you better get Diane, she's gonna die. And then she grabs the mic and is like, run, save yourself, like, get the cops, like, save yourself. And then blah, blah, blah. He is kind of far away enough, and he's like, oh, great, I can get out of here. And he's like, no, I got to go back. So he goes to save Diane. They, like, have this, like, crazy brush with, they just make it off the thing before it falls on them. And then they escape together on a train. Good thinking. And they're safe. And so immediately they go to the FBI or whatever, and they're like, listen, here is this crazy thing, this town, blah, blah, blah. They, like, map it out on this map.
I love that map because, like, the description of the rooms were funny. It was, like, more junk. Like, they, like, had the way they were telling, like, what happened to them was just, like, so wacky. It was great.
It was good. And, the FBI agents are, let's go get them. So they take, like, 70 officers, maybe, to this town to, like, bust it down. So then they send Chris and Diane up to the door to, like, get them out. And the judge is like, what's this? Why are you bothering an old man? And they're like, your day is done, Judge. He's like, oh, is it? He's like, turn around, Thorne. There's a bee's nest behind you. And they turn around, and the whole FBI department is like, hi, Judge. And they're all, weird Southern all of a sudden. And... You're like, crap, they're all on the side of the judge. So they all know him and they like respect what he does, but they can't say that they know what he does, but they're like, we agree with him. So they're like, fuck. So then, as luck would have it, the mine explodes or whatever at that moment. And so the whole place fucking explodes and like sinks into a sinkhole of like death. And so Chris and Diane finally are free at last, we suppose. And that's kind of like it. And then you find out that the group fled to Brazil, and including Dennis, sweet Dennis, and then the Brazilians, and then Chris and Diane. And then they see on the news that like the judge made it, and there's all this oil now in the town that's like very lucrative, I guess, for the town, and the judge is still alive, and he's like, I'm gonna go stay with my son-in-law, he lives in New York City. And then they're like, no, but weren't they in Brazil? Like,
No, only the brother and sister were in Brazil.
What?
They went back to Brazil. They went back to New York, so they were
but
just
the
like
Beamer
in the
was
apartment.
like parked like in a tropical area. It looked
No,
like.
it was in front of the apartment building because that same guy,
I
Dan
know. I
Ackroyd's
thought
brother,
he went
was
to,
like
I thought he
washing
moved.
the car.
I thought he moved with them to Brazil.
No.
Okay,
Just
so
the other
this
guys.
is so weird. So the Brazilians just like fucking left them and then like left with Dennis.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot, guys.
I mean, they didn't have their passports. I don't know how, but
yeah, good question. So that is the movie. Doesn't make
and
a
then
lot of sense.
so then this is the weirdest part for me. Chevy Chase flips out and runs through the wall like a Roger Rabbit character, and it's just like his like cutout is like in the wall. Like he just flipped out so much. I was like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
cool.
Oof. Yeah, so pretty scarring things in there. Definitely, like I said, the bone crusher. Just the general prosthetics, I feel like were pretty scary. Dan Aykroyd's face was just like very alarming to me. The twins, it made me uncomfortable. And it just really, I think I seem to have a lot of these kinds of nightmares. Do you have these nightmares where you're like trapped in a house somewhere and like you can't get out? And
Had a
there's like
couple.
some bad entity somewhere.
Yeah,
So like,
yeah.
I feel like this is the cause of it. And it's just like the whole time I was like, ugh, like it just gave me such like an icky feeling.
Yeah, it's scary. Cool, like Funhouse though. You could see that being some sort of terrible carnival ride. The slide looked really fun, I will say.
It was all dusty.
It was so dusty, and like the Demi Moore just kept like spinning around in it. But like Chevy Chase was just going down it regular, and I'm
Were
like,
you,
what's
like-
going on with your slide?
At first, were you like, wow, a romper? That's such an unusual choice. But
Yeah.
then when you saw like all
Yes.
these scenes, you're like,
Yes.
okay, now I get the romper.
And why she was all in white, because by the end, you know, they're like so
Oh,
dirty.
dirty,
And I was
yeah.
like, oh, okay, like this makes sense. And I feel like she was wearing mules though, which is like, there's no way those would have stayed on in the ruckus.
No.
But
yeah.
who knows?
Should've
But
lost
yeah.
it.
But I liked her outfit. She's one of those people who can really do that short haircut. I know she like rocked that for a while because she is just like so pretty. But usually, you know, you see women in that haircut and you're like, whoa, like kind of severe. But she looked very cute, and I loved her
good.
red lip, obviously.
That stayed on the whole time.
I know.
Tell me what the lipstick
know.
is. I gotta know.
I'll say, you know, Chevy Chase plays someone who he basically always plays, which is like, hi, like I'm a guy and I think I'm the shit for like no reason at all. So he does that very, very well. And I did read, and this is like a common thing, he's like really insufferable on most sets. Like everyone always hates him. He's really difficult to work with, whatever. He was a little toned down in this. I mean, definitely like a slightly more like straight man, maybe. I don't even know if that's the right like term, but
Yeah, I mean, he gets to
Yeah.
do a little. Like,
Little
I did like the part where he was looking through the people,
Yeah.
and he takes off his nose, and he was like, he makes this like hilarious face and like reaction, and then his like he takes off a leg, and he does it again. That was funny.
Yeah.
That was like classic Chevy.
yeah.
Um,
And I didn't think Dan Ackroyd was like bad in this. Was he just like given the Razzie just because in general this was like his big project where he was like involved in it so much?
Yeah, I feel like I feel like
mean,
a lot of the time with Razzies, you give it to like the most well-known
Yeah.
character in the movie or
Yeah.
something.
because I thought he was like I said, like funny. He kind of had the most like funny lines, and I don't know. I didn't mind that character. That was
just
good.
so gross.
Yeah.
It's just like, I mean, it's like literally the grossest movie I've ever seen. And I've seen so many horror movies that are like fucking gross.
Yeah.
This is the grossest one.
And it was all those. I mean, you got to hand it to the crew or the props or whoever, because there's just so many. Like everything was a strange touch, like in the whole movie, like down to like every single prop that was used, like just everything. It was just weird.
A lot of creepy shit. A lot of creepy shit.
Right, like you said, like just like what nightmares are made of. Like
This is what nightmares are made of. I had one discussion topic, which is supper versus dinner. So, like, who uses the word supper is my first question. We are not supper people. I don't think we've ever been like, it's time for supper, right? We're
Well-
straight dinner people.
I think in the U.S. we really use that like interchangeably. just like a meal in the evening. But in the UK specifically, they say supper is like the the snack before dinner. So like at 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, you have like a little light snack because you don't eat till later. So that's like where that term supper came from.
Yeah, but in the United States, you have some people who just always say supper and some people that would say dinner. And we were always dinner people.
Yeah, so you can use it. I mean, it's just
you would
soda
know
and
people,
pop.
but you would know people who like would say supper, and maybe once or twice Dad said supper.
Yeah,
and I was like, what? I was like, we're not supper people. Like, I just don't like the word supper. I think it's dumb. I don't like when people use it.
I'm just looking at maps of the U.S. of who says what, so it's like geographical too. And sorry, I had the supper and dinner wrong. Supper is an evening meal specifically, but usually a light one or very late one. And dinner is doesn't refer to a specific time, yet it always refers to the main meal of the day. Interesting. Wow.
Interesting.
I'm looking at all like charts and everything.
So we are right in that you should use dinner. Huh.
Yeah. I mean, I like dinner. I've never used supper. I feel like that's old-fashioned.
That's what I was saying, and then
Yeah.
you weren't saying anything, and I was like, God, she doesn't agree with me.
No, I do.
Oh, thank God. Anyway, yeah, that was kind of all that I wanted to say. I think
All right.
about that.
My discussion topic is Hawaiian Punch.
Oh, yeah. So not
Do
only
they make
do they
Hawaiian
have,
Punch anymore?
pretty sure.
Yes.
I'm sure they do. Yeah. Not only do they have ants on a log and these weird gray hot dogs, they also get one of the giant cans. The giant cans of Hawaiian Punch with like a spout on it, so that it's like you can pour it like water.
Like it's like a gasoline canister like spout.
And
that really brought me back.
That is a funny line when he's like nothing like a hot day on the road, but nothing like a Hawaiian Punch after a warm Hawaiian Punch after
Hawaiian Punch. So here's my relationship with Hawaiian Punch. So first of all, that can always reminded me of, we never had Hawaiian Punch because that was like I feel like the off limits like juice drink. Like our mom would be like,
many.
You cannot buy that. It's all sugar kind of a thing.
It was like the things in the barrels, like Echo
exactly.
Cool,
So
like whatever. Yeah,
I would have it occasionally if someone like at a birthday party or someone
that would be the
like
only
one of
time.
my friend went over to my friend's house, but we would never buy it. So it was kind of like a luxury. I didn't really like it. I'm not like a total fruit punch person.
Too many flavors in there.
Fruit punch is weird. It's not. It's an acquired taste, you know. It's not one that I want to acquire. It's too mishmash. Yeah, too many fruits in there, like you just said. But it reminded me of what are those big cans. So total opposite end of Hawaiian Punch. We went on this juicy juice like craze in our house. Like my mom was obsessed with like getting like 100% juice and no sugar. So we were only allowed to drink like juicy juice for a while. And it came in these cans and you would like pop it with like the little old fashioned like can opener thing. So it was like a little triangle out of it. And then like put that in the fridge and then you just keep like pouring that out. And like it sucked. I hated juicy juice. It was not good.
Don't you feel like it's super sweet now though?
Yes.
Like isn't that all sugar too?
It was one of the only ones I remember in the 80s, late 80s, early 90s that really was like marketed as 100% juice, and that was like a big deal.
Yeah.
No, I don't know.
It was because that there was always like a cute little girl, and she'd be like, "It's 100% juice."
Yeah,
pretty sure.
But that doesn't mean there's not sugar in it, though.
Right. So it was, we were conned, but
I mean, right. Because like Hawaiian Punch had like no juice or like very little. It was mostly like sugar water, as like most of those other ones were. But anyway, yeah, that just like really took me back. Juice boxes. I know we've had that. Do you remember when we were in the Boku phase too?
Yes, our favorite. Could never finish those.
And then I remember in our lunch boxes we had the mini juicy juice boxes, which I don't think I even could finish.
With like Arthur on it. Yeah.
So funny.
Good times.
And then the other thing I wanted to talk about was this early GPS system that they had in that BMW.
What is
Very
that?
cool. I guess that really did exist.
It seemed very involved. You had
it wasn't. Yeah.
I don't know.
It wasn't satellite based. I think it was like maps downloaded into it. It was like a little computer. So now, it's GPS global positioning system, right? So not working off satellites. It was like all like internal, but cool that like that existed and really makes you think about like where we are now in terms of like GPS and how it's very odd that like almost no matter where you go, you like put that GPS on. Most people have it with their phones.
I don't get
like,
it. How many satellites are there? There's a billion satellites. They're all. It's a lot of satellites. Is there like a satellite for like every section of the map? Like I don't get it. I don't get it.
Something like that.
It hurts my head. And like there's just somebody who's like monitoring all those satellites. Like whoa, what's happening?
So how often do you feel like you get in your car and don't use your GPS?
Only if I'm like around town and I know where I'm going, like to the grocery store, to your house, to mom's.
Oh, you don't have to use it to my house now? Good.
No, please. I've been flying GPS free since like
and it does feel good, doesn't it? So I've been trying to do that since I've gotten my car since the fall, and like really trying to learn like just at least the town that I live in the next one. And it is very freeing to be like, okay, I don't have to like put my phone up to the thing, like put in the thing, have the dumb voice like take over the radio and blah blah blah. So I do kind of miss those map days. Or how about the good old print out the MapQuest direction?
You had to like read your janky handwriting while you're driving, and you're like, whoa, what does this say?
Or super old school, you get directions to someone's house and you have to like write it down.
Remember that?
like right at this road, like left at this stop sign,
third
like,
stop line, or like giving people directions to our house.
Yeah.
Would you tell people to go down like the Arnold's way or the other way? I would always tell them the other way because it's easier.
It was easier
to like give them a like 3 stoplights and then like and then
and just think about how funny that is that you never now, like, when was the last time you gave someone directions anywhere? You don't.
I know sometimes if
You're
it's
on
like
your
a
own.
weird, like, they might not find the driveway or something, but like not the whole way.
Yeah.
And like, remember when there was a time when I was afraid to get in a taxi cab because I was afraid they would ask me like how to get someplace, and I would be like, I don't know, I don't drive. Remember, I like wouldn't get in a cab. This was before Uber and stuff.
So that's right. So that's the thing before GPS. So I started living in Boston in 2006. So that was like a real thing. And you would hope that, it was always so weird to me that taxi cabs knew like where every place was. But sometimes you would get in and you would have to like help them. But yeah, that's like another thing that like
very stressful.
doesn't happen. Yeah.
I think I get it in New York City. I think it makes a little more sense because the city's designed in a way that like makes sense.
Yeah.
But not here, like all over these little towns in Boston.
Right.
And
Like, totally. And all these
even
weird
in
roads.
the city, the roads. The only thing that makes sense is the like A, B, C, D. The like the roads that start with
or like
but
South Boston. One of my proudest moments ever was when I was on my term abroad in Italy, and we were coming home from the bar. So I was like also like shit faced, and my friend had just like thrown up too. Like, so we had to like get her home. So like I remember I got in the cab and I was able to use my very little bit of Italian. I mean, I knew like okay amount to give directions from the bar back to our home, like where like we were staying, like the homestay. And I just like basically just like knew the directions for like right, left. I just kept using those. But I like remember I was like so proud of myself and being like, oh my God, like I am so Italian.
major. That's major. Good job.
I know. It was
Super
like
proud.
Sinestre was left and derecha or something with a D. Maybe it's derecha's in Spanish.
That's Spanish.
Yeah. But it's a D. Another D word like that is right. Yeah, it was pretty cool. I felt
cool.
Yeah.
Cool story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else?
The baby's jumping all around.
What? Oh my God. What a moment.
I know. Everyone,
Can't wait to feel it.
The baby started moving this week, so big milestone for this house.
She must have loved this movie. But yeah, it's a weird movie. I don't recommend it unless you saw it like a long time ago when you were little and you're like, I want to know why I'm having these nightmares, and you need to like see this to get past it. Then okay, sure, you can watch it. But don't just like seek this out and watch it because it's terrible.
Unless you like funky stuff and want like a weird,
Unless you just-
funky trip. Or maybe you want to
wanna
do
know.
drugs and take it. That
Maybe they want to
might
know
be
what we're
fun.
talking about. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I
I mean,
mean,
whatever floats your boat, but we didn't tell you it was good. So just
Right.
remember that. Just remember that.
Just remember that.
We didn't tell you to watch it specifically. Anyways, hey, come find us on Twitter if you have thoughts at the Sweetie Club or on Instagram at Large Marge Sent Us. Thank you, as always, for listening. Bye.
Bye. Baby twins and diapers. Reported.
Sweet though.